heart, even though she has been gone for over half a century. The world still has many questions about what happened on the day she disappeared. What caused her disappearance? Where did she go? Although officials have abandoned the search for Amelia Earhart long ago, many people still want to know exactly what happened to her and her navigator, Fred Noonan, which caused some experts to continue with the search. Amelia Earhart is one of the most famous women who ever lived, even though we assume she passed away several decades ago. By 1937, she became a best-selling author, a record-setting pilot, and a feminist hero. The declining number of records to set in the field of aerodynamics led Earhart wanting to end her piloting career with one last farewell, circumnavigating the globe. The trip itself would be 30,000 miles and would zigzag around the equator. She took off on May 21st, heading east, taking 40 days and making more than 20 stops before reaching New Guinea to refuel again. The flight from Howland Island would be the longest part of her expedition, covering 2,556 miles. She took off from New Guinea at 10 a.m. on July 2nd and was supposed to land on Howland Island 20 hours later on the same morning after crossing the international date line. She was supposed to communicate with the Coast Guard ship Itasca, but their time schedule fell apart. She could not hear the Itasca radioing her, but they could hear her increasingly frantic messages get stronger as she supposedly got closer to the island. The last telegraph message that the Itasca heard from her stated they were running low on fuel. "You must be on you, but we cannot see you." It was July 2nd, 1937, and Earhart was just turning 40 years of age when she disappeared into legend, as stated by Hilary Masters in her article titled Amelia Earhart's Last Landing. That day, the most extensive search ever undertaken for a single aircraft was launched. For the next 16 days, 10 vessels, 4,000 crew members, and 65 aircrafts searched an area of the Pacific Ocean roughly the size of Texas. An unofficial search for the missing pair continued until July 19th in 1937 and became the most extensive air and sea search in naval history, as stated in the biography Amelia Earhart's Life and Disappearance, written by Lisa Shaw. It is assumed Earhart and Noonan drowned after the plane went down. None of the ships or planes that were sent to look for a crash site ever found as much as an oil slick. So after a few weeks, the official report came out stating they crashed and sank, and the government abandoned the official search. There were supposedly dozens of messages from Earhart heard thousands of miles away for 5 days after her disappearance, due to the fact that shortwave radio waves can skip for thousands of miles. If they were real, they would disprove the crashed and sank theory. Many people believe she decided to land on the tiny island of Nicaragua, several miles off the coast of Howland Island, where she could have sent the messages from. There have been several trips made to the island in search of any clue that they landed anywhere in the area. These expeditions have brought back several man-made items that were on Earhart's inventory. Bone fragments were also found on the island, and a team of researchers believe that the bone fragments may belong to Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan. A not-so-common theory about what happened to Earhart, which there are several versions of, is that after they landed on Nicaragua, they were subsequently captured by the Japanese. The search for Earhart's plane, the Electra, will continue using autonomous submarines searching around the island of Nicaragua. The International Group of Historic Aircraft Recovery, or TIGAR, will lead the search for the plane. TIGAR believes that the surf sucked the plane off the coral reef, and they should find it near the reef slope. The mystery of what happened to Amelia Earhart is still considered one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the world. Even though the world may never find out exactly what happened to Amelia Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, on that day in 1937, it is still great to imagine what could have happened to her. Maybe the greatest aspect about the mystery is that it is still a mystery. Maybe finding out what happened would ruin the intensity of the question of it all. Maybe it is better that no one ever knows.